It is World Volleyball Day, which means it's only fitting that we have Madison Fitzpatrick on the On to Something Sports Media podcast. I'm Bryan Fenley. Madison, thanks for being a part of this. I know we've got a chance to work together, but to tell your story, that's another angle which we're going to go and find out about. And I appreciate you joining me for this.
I'm so excited to be here. Happy World Volleyball Day comes at a perfect time. I didn't even know until you just told me. So thank you for letting me know it's a great day. And happy World Volleyball Day. I'm happy to be here.
Well, you said it. How do you not know that when you've got a volleyball right behind you? How much use has that volleyball in the back of your screen? How much use has that volleyball gotten?
Well, it's a mini, so I haven't played with it. I got it from, I think, my first national championship. They just give you these little mini replicas of the championship ball. So this was from my freshman year, but it's a little mini one.
Do you remember the first time that you had a volleyball in your hands?
Great question. No, but I remember when I decided that I wanted to take it collegiately and take it as far as I could. It was a Misty May camp. I played beach volleyball. It was a Misty May camp, and she was such a baller, and she's diving around. There's sand everywhere, and I was just watching her, and I'm like, that is gorgeous. That looks so much fun. I want to take that as far as I can. So I don't remember when I held the ball, but I do remember when I decided I wanted to make it a thing.
How old were you when that Misty May camp happened?
I think I was in sixth grade. I played indoor my whole life, but then beach volleyball really stole my heart. So I ended up going with that for the college experience.
You obviously have experience indoor and beach. How did beach volleyball steal your heart? What is it about obviously seeing the likes of a Misty May lunging for these digs that allowed you beyond that to really want to devote and dedicate your life to this?
Well, and great question. In indoor, I was an outside, so I played six rotations and I was a ball hog. Anytime I could touch the ball, it's like, it's great. I'm really manipulating the outcome of this game. I've got such a say in the outcome of this game, and I loved that, but there wasn't enough of that. So when I tried beach volleyball for the first time, there's only two of us. I am hitting and setting and passing, and I'm doing everything, every single play. And I like that because I think I'm a little bit of a control freak. It was more in my control. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. I also loved, obviously, you play on the beaches in California or wherever there's a beach you're playing. I liked the wind. There was a lot of outside factors that really made you rely on ball control. And so it was it's a little bit more of a wild, playful sport, I would say. So I just enjoyed all of those things. And then the sand, if you're diving, it doesn't hurt. You're not really banging your head, getting concussion, breaking up your elbows and knees and stuff. So just the whole culmination of that, I could throw my body anywhere and it wouldn't get hurt. So a million reasons why, and I'm so glad I chose it.
Through the culmination of all of your work beach volleyball wise, the greatest point that you were ever a part of,
Hmm.
please tell me that you know what that was, or if you don't, what could that be?
I love that. So like point as in a point that I scored. That's great. Okay. My grad year was my last game ever, which is so poetic and cheesy. But we were playing in a national championship against USC. I had fractured my ankle in the semis, so I couldn't warm up. I couldn't jump. I got two cortisone shots on either side of my ankle, like right before we started the game. And this USC team had only lost one time the whole season. It was actually to me and my partner before that. But we're both 5'9", the USC team. They're both like 6'2". They should beat us. They're four-time national champions. They should beat us. I have a broken ankle. Somehow, I mean, we grinded it out. It went to three. What?
You
Okay, well,
playing
yeah, no, I played with a
with
broken
that
ankle.
injury.
Yes. I couldn't jump. It was the most focused I've ever been in my entire life. I knew it was going to be the last game I would ever play because I knew I wanted to pursue broadcasting after college, so I wouldn't have time to do professional. So I knew it was my last game ever, and I thought, okay, no matter what, I'm not coming out. Like coach said, we should probably take you out. You literally can't even warm up. And I'm like, no, I'm in. Anyway, somehow, by the grace of God, we get all the way to the third set and we win 16-14 off of an ace where I'm like wobbling at this point and I'm back to serve and it was windy and I pop a little flat, like short float serve and it just dies right in front of her. She thought it was out, so she let it go and it tagged the line. And that was like the best point of my life because one, we won a national championship game, my partner and I, and then two, because it was the last point I've ever played and we got it done.
How many points do you so vividly remember, like the one that
So
you just recalled right there?
Yeah, you're right. I remember so many of them, which is so funny because I've played millions of points in my career. I've played so many points. But no, I vividly remember even the ones that I mess up, those used to haunt me too.
Why do you think it's easier to remember points like that than it would be to say, remember what you had dinner 2 days ago?
Wow, that's a really good question. Um,
Because
I
I
guess
certainly don't remember what I had for dinner 2 days ago.
I don't either. I don't either. Probably because I was a nut job and I cared so much about every little point and I dedicated like my whole life to that. So I guess it just meant a little more than a little pizza for dinner, you know.
You knew coming out of college that you wanted to go into broadcasting, and you obviously had schooling and a ton of schooling, even a master's to pursue that. How do you feel like even before college, your personality, the way you were already preparing, even if you didn't realize it intentionally, for being a front-facing broadcaster in how you lived your life before all that schooling and just who you were as a kid and into your teenage years?
Great question. Yeah, for some reason it's just always been innate in me to one, want to speak in front of thousands of people. I don't know why that's always been a thing that I've loved. And then entertaining. So even as like a 3-year-old kid, I was born in 98. So that back then parents had like the little handheld recording devices. They didn't really have cell phones and stuff. So I just remember they'd bring it out. I'd be like 2 years old and I would just sing and dance and I just wanted to perform so bad. And they would go to my sister and then you'd see my head like get in front of the camera and just want to start talking about the weather, like do a news report. So it's just always been something that was deep inside of me. I've never had any other career goals, career path. Like it was just something I always knew I wanted to do.
How was that dream facilitated in part to what you were describing by the loved ones around you in putting more emphasis on how they were there to support you through this process in where you wanted to take your career in life?
I love that. Yeah, I would not be anywhere close to where I am without them. They are the best. My biggest supporters, they would spend all of the money that they had if it meant me achieving my dreams. They would send me to like Florida broadcasting camp because that's where Aaron Andrews went to school. So I'm like, okay, now I got to really get into broadcasting camp at Florida. And so they were just so giving with volleyball too. And also motivating and inspiring. Like, broadcasting is hard. There were times where, especially like my first year out of college, when I was doing local news, kind of wanted to be done. I thought this is not really that fun. Like this is kind of soul sucking. But they were always in the back of my ear. They were my shoulder to cry on. They were always telling me, "Hey, you've wanted to do this for a really long time. You have to keep trying. Like you cannot give up." So the motivation, plus the financial support, plus all of the support, I literally would not be here without them.
Even to this stage, and so much more good things are soon to be happening for you. How proud are you of how far you've come?
Great question. I say great question every time you ask a question, but it is true.
Thank you.
Um, it is really, really hard for me to be proud of myself. I set insanely high standards, and so to admit to be proud of myself, I probably have done it like twice in my life. One after that national championship game, and then two after my first national championship on ABC this past year with indoor volleyball. So I would say yes. I cringe just saying it, but I am really, really proud of myself. Just how far I've come and honestly a pretty short amount of time. Like I just feel very blessed that I've been given the opportunities and I'm really, really thankful. So maybe less proud of myself and just right now more thankful for the people that have helped me. I still have a lot more work to do, so I still have goals that I need to accomplish before I can be like super proud and proclaim it, you know?
That will come, but the idea of what it takes for you to be happy with yourself,
Mhm.
why do you feel like, and I can totally agree with this, that can be so hard to do?
Yeah. I think it all comes from the standard that you've set for yourself, that I've set for myself, the goals that we want to achieve. I'm glad that we're like this. We're definitely go-getters. We're very hungry and not complacent. So I just think it's something that either maybe you saw in another person, and maybe that's why you have the attribute, or maybe you were born with it. But I definitely think it's a good way to be because I think we're gonna accomplish all of our goals. But yeah, it does get a little it makes me have anxiety if I'm not gonna achieve my goals and just thinking about it. So it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, that lack of complacency.
I think there's nothing complacent about the way you prepare for a broadcast. How in depth and how much time are we really talking about with how you're preparing for any one of your broadcasts?
I'm an absolute nut job. Like I'm just it's crazy. I always say like my one of my things for myself is I don't want to be the one standing in my own way. So if I'm going to get this opportunity, I am not going to stand in my own way, not prepare enough, not feel as confident as I can coming into it. If I don't get another opportunity, it's because they didn't like the way that I performed, or there was something about me that the people that hired don't like. But it's not going to be my lack of preparing or something that I did to myself that stops me from still achieving some of my goals. So, I mean, for a regular broadcast, let's say I'm an analyst, I'll do it'll it's like a week. Let's say I've got a game a week. The second I'm done with one game, it's the full week to the next game, and that's just how it works.
How often are you watching your previous games that you did?
I need to watch it more. This was a thing when I played sports, like after you lose or even after you win, like going back, learning from it, it's so helpful. I know a lot of broadcasters watch themselves a lot. That's an area that I most definitely need to grow. Even as an athlete, I didn't want to go back because I see a shot that I barely miss out, and I'm like, you idiot, just wrap your hand a little bit more over the ball. And same with broadcasting. Like if I watch it back, I only remember and I only see the bad things. So that's an area of my game that I have to work on. And you know what? I'm going to after this. So thank you for reminding me. I'm going to go back and watch something.
It's so interesting. Like it's so the perspective of you thinking that you have something to work on. Obviously, we all do, but like the mental checklist for you when you think about like what you could have done better in a segment, the the normal public does not
Yes.
see what you're seeing. So the lens that say a common viewer is in watching one of your broadcasts, and the lens that you're looking at your own broadcast, what's different about those type of lenses that they're looking through and that what you're looking through?
That's such a good point. My parents and people that watch me all the time are like, "No, you did fantastic. What are you talking about?" And I'll just say there was two things where my cadence was a little weird, or I left a gap where I shouldn't have left a gap, and it was super awkward. You're right. Those people are watching the game, and then I'm complimenting the game, and so they're not over scrutinizing every single thing that I'm saying. Whereas this is super intimate for us. It's very personal. It's really detailed and finite. And when I'm watching myself, I'm just zonal focused on every single thing that I say. So we just look at it through more of a zoomed in lens on ourselves, which is a good thing. But yeah, it can be maddening. It can keep me up at night.
In a day, say, where you actually have a day off, which are hard to come by for you, say you're with friends at the beach. How much of that time when you're at the beach with your friends are you thinking about sports and your career?
Oh, that's funny. I can tell that you probably do that because, yeah, we're cut from the same cloth. A good amount. The good thing is, I've gotten a lot better at compartmentalizing. It used to be all the time thinking about my career, being nervous that I'm getting behind. But lately, this past year, I've really been working on being where your feet are and trusting the process. And in these slower months, like summer, when I'm with my friends, I'm at the beach, I'm traveling. I am working very, very hard on being where my feet are, pouring into my friends, having them pour into me because life, as I'm learning as we continue to age, is not all about our careers. And it's something I'm still continuing to learn. So yeah, it's difficult, but it's something that I'm working on to make me a better holistic person.
What do your friends tell you as ways to center you?
Oh, I love that. I have wonderful friends. They're so great, and they all do such cool jobs. I'm surrounded by a whole lot of go-getters, a lot of professional volleyball players, some travel agents. My sister is an author. She's super cool. But They always just tell me that they're proud of me, to trust the process, that the time will come. And the big thing is that they all 100% believe in me. So they say, if it doesn't happen now, let's say if you don't get football ESPN now, it's going to happen. So just keep going. Like, we love you and we're proud of you. So it's all just like really positive, motivational stuff. And especially I watch them and how far they're going in their life. And we graduated 2, 3 years ago and they're accomplishing such big things. So they motivate me in that regard too.
There can be a struggle, and I think we've hit on this a little bit about how hard it is to be kind to ourselves
Mm.
in this pursuit of where we are going and wanting more, and part of that is good because that's where the drive comes from. But then where do you see where that can almost get in your own way, where there is this lack of appreciation, that which we deserve, if that makes sense?
Yeah, definitely. I think positive self-talk is so important. And you're probably the exact same way as me. I can beat myself up after a broadcast. So it can definitely stand in your own way if you let it seep into your mind for your next broadcast. Like, we got to learn from our mistakes and then have short-term memory and try not to let how hard we are on ourselves seep into broadcast, because that goes into doubt. And when I start to doubt myself, then I start to mumble a little bit, or I'm not as confident in what I'm saying, or I don't answer the play-by-play questions as confidently as I should. So it's such a fine line that we're both still figuring out.
One of the things you're really good at is locating the story. What do you think has to happen for you in terms of your demeanor to where when you're talking to coaches that they're comfortable in going places with you with stories that
Hmm.
perhaps they won't go and talk about with other people?
It's a great question. I think it's a lot about establishing just that kind of trust and relatability from the beginning. So, like, I'm not coming into an interview with a coach before we're on camera and being like, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do," da da da, and being like bossy or robotic. I'll give them a compliment. We'll talk a little bit about how their day is going, or I learn about their family life, and we talk about that. Like, you get to know them as a person the longer you do the job, and then they're more comfortable to open up um, and to kind of give you the better details that they would in someone that they don't trust or know.
The gift of perfectionism, which I think is innate with all coaches and many that obviously that you talk to, who do you think gave you that gift at a very young age?
Oh, good question again. Um, hmm.
How young do you remember somebody saying that? Or was it a family member? Or where do you feel like that might have come from?
Yeah, I honestly I think that I get the perfectionism characteristic kind of just from bits and pieces. I can't think of one family member or person in my life that is kind of as insane as I am about being a perfectionist, but I do know that I was definitely born with it. Like, kindergarten through fifth grade, we would have Mile Thursdays, and I would literally throw up all morning long because I did not want to lose, and I was so terrified of losing to even a boy, anyone. It didn't even matter. So my poor parents had to work with me my whole life about my perfectionism and my competitiveness. But yeah, it was just something that was inside of me for a long time.
How hard was it to listen to them while you're between kindergarten and fifth grade, listening to them and then, but also listen to yourself? Which brings me to a greater question, which is everybody in this industry has a perspective and a prize perspective, but there's also your perspective. When do you know that it's in your best interests to listen to yourself? And what do you think might need to happen for you to step outside of yourself and say, hey, I like what I think, but this person's perspective actually might be best for me at that time?
It's a great question. I think I'm going to have a totally different answer for you. Let's say we do this interview in a year or 2 years. I think my answer will definitely continue to change. Since I've only been in the industry for 2 years, I don't know what I don't know. So there's a lot of times where I am reaching out to someone in the field that's been there longer than me, or my parents or friends like you. Oh, sorry. I am usually soaking in what people have to tell me, and I don't trust myself as much right now just because I know that people have been in this situation before and can kind of help me. So I'm kind of like a sponge right now with advice and where I should take the career and all of that. Very, very open.
You might, because of your perfectionistic and qualities, that's something that so many in this industry share. There might be this piece of like, even though clearly you belong, that there's like, but I got to do this. Where do you feel like in your career you could first give yourself the inkling, the hint of that, I belong here. This is where I'm supposed to be.
Love that. Right out of college, I did local news for 1 year in Little Rock, Arkansas. I don't think I felt that the whole year just because I was so inexperienced, so ill prepared. I should probably not even gotten that job. I didn't know anything what I was doing when I got in. So I did not feel that, okay, this is where I belong. But what I did feel for that year is stick with it because you will belong. You just need to fail a crap ton. Like you just need to fail for a full year and then you will feel like you belong. I've always had that voice in my head that's telling me you'll get there, I promise. I think my ESPN debut was actually a year after I played in the national championship for beach volleyball. It was the national championship for beach volleyball a year later. A million different things had to happen for me to get that role. It was my biggest break yet. But I remember it was the first time I held the ESPN mic, and my opening hit as a sideline reporter was to talk about the FSU LSU rivalry, which I've experienced and almost knocked a couple LSU parents out like once in my career. So I know that rivalry like the back of my hand. So I think after that opening hit, when I felt so confident and comfortable and I was holding the ESPN mic and I was, of course, like blackout nervous. But that feeling, I kind of felt like, yeah, I belong here holding this mic, and I also belong with this feeling. Like I just crave it now. I love it.
The competitive juices that you feel against LSU, like, are you saying like you would dive off the court and you'd hit people? Like, I mean, just because of
Oh, okay.
how athletic it challenges you to be.
Yeah, it's just whenever like Florida State would play LSU, they just want to rip our throats out because it's like Alabama Auburn football back in the day. But anyway, so let's say I'd finish a game and there was a parent that was being really loud. I think I was a hothead. I've only done this once, but there was an LSU parent that was screaming anytime I would like, hit a shot, he would scream easy. Like really personal things. And beach volleyball is intimate, so he's right there off the court. So after we won, for some reason winning wasn't enough. I just went up to him and I said, you're not acting like an adult. Like this is embarrassing for you and your daughter and all this stuff. So super competitive. I obviously had some testosterone going at the moment or whatever it is. But yeah, it was really fun rivalry.
How
I
good are
forget
you?
where I was.
No, no, you bring up a good point because that actually leads me into this. How good are you at knowing when to speak up for yourself? And yes, there are people in your corner that know what you're capable of. But when you yourself do that the most, what does that look like?
Good question. I am an ultimate people pleaser, so that does not come easy for me. I would like really hurt myself just in order to make a stranger happy, pretty much. I don't even know why I'm like that. But I was in therapy. I'm working on it. I'm a recovering people pleaser. I'm really working on knowing when to speak up for myself. And it's coming a lot easier now that I trust myself more. I feel like I have enough life experience and I'm more holistic person with the foundation to where I can kind of tell when I need to stand up for myself. So it's something that I'm really working on, being such a people pleaser. And I'm just going to continue to try and get better at it.
And listening to those, so much of it is this belief in yourself before other people see it in you. You have dreams and you're realizing them and you're actualizing them. How powerful is it to know what you know you can do as a vehicle to one day show people that are in charge of said things, I can do this one day. Just watch.
Yeah, that's so important. I feel like if we don't have that, if we don't have the belief in ourselves, one, it's going to seep into our mental game and our self-talk. And then you're just going to come across less confident. And if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you? And especially with this job, most of your interviews, you're face to face with a coordinating producer, and you have got to be in that moment, you're the only person that can advocate for yourself. So you have to be your biggest advocate and really show them that you have the confidence. And a lot of like since I'm relatively new at this career, I've had to fake it till I make it a lot. I have had to grin and smile and pretend like I'm 100% confident, but I know if I get the job that I will deliver. So it's just about faking it until you have it, and then once you have it, just running with it.
How did you stumble upon a sister who's such a talented author? How did that come into to being?
Love that. She's the coolest. She is 18 months younger than me, so we're a year and a half apart. And she's always been a dreamer, just like myself. She's always loved to write. She never wanted to take the traditional 9 to 5 route, just like I never wanted to do that either. She got into writing a little later in college, wrote her first like novel, long, long book in college. I think it's going to be a wonderful movie one day. Like it's like Notebook meets a thriller. It's wonderful. I'm her biggest fan, obviously. But my parents were really supportive with her, told her just to go for it. Obviously, writing a book takes a lot of time. So she works for a publishing company. She's an editor, and then she also is writing her second book right now. I read some of it yesterday. It's just gripping. I just, she's got the coolest brain ever. I feel so lucky to be her sister.
What can you learn from her about the art of storytelling and how that obviously applies to what you're doing in broadcasting?
Oh, I love that. Um, I can learn from her that it's good to have details, like the interesting, the grabbing facts, but then if you go on for too long, people will lose interest. So I think everything in moderation with her, the way she tells stories and even the way that I tell stories. I can't make a hit a minute and a half. The play-by-play is going to want to freaking shoot me. So I've got to give them interesting stuff in a quaint amount of time to where they will want to listen. And same with storytelling.
The storytelling of your life. Let me ask you as we wrap this thing up, what would have to happen for you to feel compelled to write your own book one day?
I love that. I think that well, one, I'm a nut job with journaling. I've written down every single thing that's happened to me starting in sixth grade, and now I'm 26. So I actually would love to write an autobiography one day, just because I have every single thing that has ever happened written down. So I think I'll be super compelled one day when I have the time to just go out and really make a long book because I've got a lot of details about what happened.
If I may, what led you to want to do that at such a young age?
I've had like this doomsday. This is kind of grim. I've had this doomsday idea that maybe one day I'll have dementia. It's probably because I watched The Notebook. And so I thought I would love to have all this written down. So if my memory, if not even dementia, if my memory does start to fade, I'm so thankful for my life. I feel like the most blessed person ever. I would hate to forget all the good things that happened to me. So it was really just preemptive, wanting to remember all of the good things. And I wrote the bad things too, because those are as equally important in making us getting me to that finish line.
Journaling is one way to remember always the good things and the things that you've learned. And you can always go back to this conversation as well to
Yeah.
catalog and to refresh your memory on all the things that you've done. Madison Fitzpatrick, I'm Bryan Fenley. Madison, thanks so much for this.
Thank you so much. You're wonderful. I loved it.